Welcome back to another edition of the Pagcast. I'm your host, Michael Pagani, joined alongside Mississauga Steelheads forward Owen Beck. Owen, welcome to the Pagcast. Thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
In your most recent game, we could start off with that. You guys beat Oshawa 3-1. What worked well for the team that game?
Yeah, we really stuck to our identity, played our way, and things worked out for us, and we've been having a good stretch of games, as you can see, and yeah, we'll just hopefully keep going that way.
How do you continue that good momentum going into, we're recording this on Wednesday, Wednesday, right? Yeah, I don't know my days anymore. It's the pandemic. Into your next game.
Yeah, so I think we all just have to buy into our systems, keep chipping pucks in deep, keep working hard, getting pucks to the front of the net, and banging them home.
How would you describe the identity of this team from the start of the season to where we are now?
Yeah, so I think we had a bit of a rocky start at the start of the year, but something's clicked, and as I mentioned, our identity earlier, it's hard, fast, together, and I think we've really bought into that type of play, and it's worked really well for us.
Do you think that the rough start, you could kind of attribute that to being off for literally a full year of hockey?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody was off for 18 months, so I'm sure the hockey wasn't as good as it could have been coming into this year. But we turned it around, and we're gonna hopefully keep going the way we are.
How has being back in the arena with fans this season brought some normalcy back into your life?
Yeah, it's really kind of helped us forget about COVID. Obviously, there's no fans in the rink these days, but when there were, it was a great feeling, great to see everybody back again, and it felt like normal hockey all over again.
When sports were postponed during March of 2020, what did you do with that time? Because that would have been an extended off season for you.
Yeah, so like I said, it was about 18 months or so. I really just focused on getting into the gym and staying on the ice as much as I could around the restrictions that were in place. I had trainers at home and skills coaches that were helping me get on the ice and help me get as good as possible for when hockey did resume.
And I just want to touch on, because I actually leads well into my next question here, talking about the pandemic mentally, or how it impacted you mentally or physically. But to give some context there, my mom's an ICU nurse, so at the start of the pandemic, when we really didn't know much about the coronavirus, I had to be separated from her. So given that context, how did the pandemic affect you mentally or physically?
Yeah, it was tough, kind of staying isolated from friends and extended family and whatnot. It kind of just changed everybody's routine. So we were all kind of in uncharted waters, if you will, and it was tough, but it's good that we're getting back to normal, and hopefully it stays this way.
Well, let's get away from the oldest COVID talk here and talk about your story. Was there a player growing up who you wanted to model your game after?
Growing up when I was really young, I enjoyed watching Ovechkin. He was the Capitals were my brother's favorite team, and I kind of hopped on that bandwagon with him. But in more recent years, I guess everybody kind of wants to play like McDavid. He's an unbelievable skater, stick handler, just all over. All around great player. So if I could model my game after anybody, it would definitely be McDavid.
Well, I mean, he certainly has, the two goals that I think that, I'm going to say is the Rangers and the Jets goals. Those were definitely disgusting and filthy. And it was amazing when I saw that happen.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that's not a goal of the year for sure.
Sorry. Oh, okay. I didn't want to interrupt your thought there. Growing up in Ontario, who was your favorite NHL team?
So my dad has always been a big Leafs fan, and I've kind of wanted to pick my own team, but just watching Leaf games every other night, on the TV, it's kind of hard to not fall in love with them. So I'd definitely say the Leafs would be my team.
Well, as my Montreal Canadiens defeated them last year in the playoffs, I have that over you. Currently, they are on opposite ends of the standings, but we won't pay attention to that. We'll just continue the course here.
Yeah. No, kind of just got to ride the wave, right? Up and down. So
we're going to talk about your career here now. You started your career with the Quincy Red Devils. How did that team help with your development?
Yeah, we had a really good team back in I'd say from minor bantam to minor midget. So kind of just going to practice every day and getting pushed by all the other great players on that team. It helped me develop very quickly. So that was very helpful. And our coaches were dedicated and they were very helpful as well. And so I definitely attribute a lot of my success to them to this day.
Well, you were over a point per game pace in the 2019-20 season, totaling 39 points in 34 games. Are you able to touch on how the coach's system played into your success on the score sheet?
Yeah, I think again it was kind of just the way the way our team was built. We had a very strong team. We were deep, and just being able to get some power play minutes here and there, and banging a few in on 5-on-5. I'd say we were really offensively gifted as a team, and that really contributed to my success on the offensive end.
You played 7 playoff games with the Red Devils and totaled 8 points. What was memorable from the playoff run?
Yeah, we that year in minor midget we were hosting OMHAs, so getting to play that tournament on home ice, it gave everybody that extra motivation to get through the playoffs as quickly as possible and get to that tournament. So yeah, I definitely just say everything all in all, it was a great last kind of stretch before COVID shut everything down. So yeah.
Sorry, did the OMHs get shut down or no?
No,
I
we
don't
had them
remember.
early enough, and yeah, we
Oh,
had them
okay.
early enough in March that we were able to get them in, which was good.
Yeah, because that's such an important tournament here in Ontario. Like I had a couple of friends who played in the OMHAs and they loved it.
Oh yeah, it's a great tournament at the end of the year. It's a little bit different considering, it's a playoff final, but I think it's a great way to do it. It gets the top teams together and gets a really competitive environment going.
You even got a chance to play in the OJHL with the Coburg Cougars. How did that short experience help you mature as a player?
Yeah, I felt it really showed me where I needed to get to, playing with older players, stronger players. I found it was a challenge at the time, and I feel like that really kind of gave me an idea of where I need to be going in my development and where I need to get to in order to play at the next level.
In the shutdown of the 2020 OHL season, how did you make sure your development didn't take as big of a hit?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, I tried to get into the gym as much as possible, as well as on the ice, with the restrictions that were in place. But yeah, it was just really kind of staying dedicated and trying to, push through that pandemic that really helped me and really kind of kept me on course.
One of the more positive things that came from you during that whole first wave of the pandemic back in 2020 was getting drafted by the Steelheads. How did you end up celebrating that achievement?
Yeah, so that was the start of COVID. So that was when everything kind of just shut down and you weren't supposed to have anybody really at your house or whatever. So I just kind of celebrated with my parents and my brother and my girlfriend and just kind of watched the draft with them on the live stream. And yeah, it was a great experience, great to hear your name called and something I'll never forget.
It must be so relieving once you heard your phone ring that it was from the Mississauga Steelheads general manager.
Yeah, no, when JR called me, I was ecstatic. I think I remember my hand was shaking and yeah, I could barely speak. It was a great feeling. And like I said, something I'll definitely never forget.
This is your rookie season. So how is it going for you so far?
Yeah, I feel like it's been really good. I've had some success on the offensive end. I feel like I've been able to kind of build on my 200-foot game this year under JR's system. So yeah, I think it's gone really well to this point.
What has been the biggest adjustment you have had to make from, I guess, going from, I guess, junior to the OHL?
Yeah, so I'd say how much faster the play is, as well as the increased physicality and overall strength of players in the league. You kind of just have to make plays that much quicker, defensive reads that much quicker, and it's it can be challenging, but with experience, it's not too hard to figure out, I guess. Yeah.
Speaking on your offensive, achievement that you mentioned just a couple of seconds ago, you're leading the team in rookie scoring with 29 points. How important was building up chemistry with your line mates?
Yeah, it's crucial. I was coming in alongside another rookie in Zach Lavoie and Aiden Pruder, who is a veteran. So I think both of us really leaned on him to kind of get things going in the offensive zone. And, being able to play off each other really well in the offensive zone just really leads to, more pucks going in the back of the net, really.
Are there any veterans, you mentioned Pruders there, that kind of helped you get accustomed to the OHL schedule because of how big that a grind it is?
Yeah, so it's pretty busy, especially this year with the condensed schedule and games being canceled and rescheduled here and there. So, as you mentioned, Pruder's definitely a big factor, and I would also say Roman Bazarin, who came over from the WHL, has been really good. They're both overagers, and they've had a lot of experience with that sort of thing. So they kind of help me, learn to balance sleep and school and everything in between, right? So
It's always good to have someone to lean off of when you are balancing being a rookie, you got school to go to as well, right?
yeah, for sure, it's super helpful. It's tough to do this sort of thing alone, and you need support, and that's a great thing about our team.
With all the postponements going on for every team, like you mentioned, how does that affect your game day routine?
Yeah, it can be tough, considering you wake up in the morning ready to play and ready to get to the rink, and then sometimes you even get there and it's like, hey, the game's canceled. So
Yeah, exactly.
that can be definitely tough for us, and like as we're possibly part way through our routine. So I think we just kind of got to stay on our toes and be prepared for anything in these unprecedented times.
I like to add that, I think it's great the OHL is going to get like the full schedule in, right? Like it's almost like we're brushing off the games that get canceled because we have like the preconceived notion that they're going to be rescheduled because of all the moves that have been made in the OHL and how they're so encouraged to get a full schedule in.
Yeah, no, the OHL's been extremely dedicated to getting our full season in, and I'm sure all the players and coaches and fans are really appreciative of that. I know I am myself because we had that year of COVID where we were told, okay, we're going to start the season, then wait, no, we
Yeah.
can't, we're pushed back, and so their dedication this year to finishing the year and finishing the full schedule has been really great.
What were your emotions like when you were basically told that, okay, we're going to restart the season, then we're not, then we're going to, then we're not? It must have been, frustration and, like just a bit of tiresome, I guess, in a way, right?
Yeah, it was up and down. And I think if I remember correctly, it was about 4 or 5 times that we were told this. And, by the end, I was kind of just slowly losing faith in it just because, COVID continued to get worse. We've heard that multiple times before. So yeah, it was kind of tough to hear that going back to, how it played mentally on me, during the pandemic. And that was definitely a big factor.
What are you hoping to accomplish as the season progresses?
Yeah, I think my biggest goal would be, having a good run in the playoffs this year. We hope to get fans back in the building, and I think it'd be great to be able to give them a good playoff run since they've missed quite a few or regular season games now.
Well, it would be perfect if you guys got them back at the right time, like near the end of the season. So it'd give you guys like almost like a playoff push in a sense, right?
Yeah, no, that'd be perfect.
Mississauga did make some, trades at the deadline. How do the players coming in help out the team?
Yeah, we really added some great depth in Jacob Birdie. He's going to be a solid piece for us down the road, and he's fit. I feel like he's fit in really well, and I think he's happy here. So yeah, he's definitely going to be a big piece in kind of fitting into our depth and adding more solidity down the lineup.
Well, I think that he would love to join a team that's on a roll of 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. You guys are first in the Eastern Conference. How is this team different than, well, I guess we already answered that question, but to elaborate on it, how is this team different than the one that we saw at the season, given the moves made at the trade deadline?
Yeah, again, it just goes back to our depth and playing to our identity. When you get new players in, they obviously have different systems back in their previous teams. So kind of getting them adjusted as quickly as possible to our identity and our systems is really important, and it'll definitely help us continue our streak.
Looking into the future, you are a prospect for the NHL draft, and actually, two of your current teammates have been drafted to NHL teams. Have you asked them for advice on how to approach this season?
Yeah, coming into the year, obviously I was both a rookie and a draft eligible player. So I talked a bit with Ole Bjorvik Holm about, kind of his experience and his the process he went through, similar to me, just not, I think a year or two prior, I believe. So yeah, he's definitely been a guy I've leaned on for that aspect of this season, and he's been really helpful.
That's super great, honestly, because when you're leading up to the draft, it can provide so much stress for you, and it's almost like you're holding your stick a little bit too tight.
Yeah, it can the pressure can definitely weigh on you. I would say though, for me personally, it helped, going through that OHL draft process as well. I had a bit more of a struggle in that season than I feel I do now, which is really great. It kind of prepared me for this sort of pressure, and it's alleviated a bit of the NHL draft pressure this year, which is great.
If you were to play another sport, what would it be?
Growing up, I played a lot of soccer, and I was pretty good at that. So I know it's not too popular in Canada, but we have our kind of outliers, I guess, in Alfonso Davies, and I think that's probably the sport I would pick up.
Do you guys play a lot of sewer with the team?
Yeah, a lot of the guys do spend quite a bit of time doing that before the game, and that's not necessarily a huge part of my warm up, but I will try and hop in here and there.
Hey, it would work on your soccer skills.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. No, it
Speak,
kind of brings it back.
Speaking of this season, once again, who has been the hardest team to go against?
I would say probably Kingston. They've given us a few fits here and there. We've kind of gone back and forth in games one. You know, we took it to them the first game of the year, and we kind of tried to set that expectation for ourselves early on. And recently, they've been able to bounce back and get us in, I believe, our past two. So, I think we're looking forward to playing them, and but I would definitely think that the team would agree that they've probably been our biggest challenge this year.
I feel as though the OHL kind of has this, high scoring feel to it. So my question to you would be like, what's it like playing in games that end like 7-6, 8-7? Because it's wild.
Yeah, no, it's kind of tough to play in those games because it's just back and forth, and you really want to shut down on the defensive end, but it almost seems impossible to a point at that, like when it gets to that kind of crazy of a score. But we just gotta, like I mentioned several times, we kind of just got to stick to our identity. And if the bounces aren't going our way and the games get super high scoring, then we kind of just got to keep up with that pace, and hope that it all works out, really.
What's your favorite arena to travel to?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would have to say Barry's pretty good. I like the Saddlon arena. They were one of the teams I watched in my draft year. My minor midget team had a road trip to Barrie in that area, so we stopped in and caught a game, and yeah, I really enjoy playing there. It's both a great atmosphere and great facility.
As we're closing off this interview here, do you have any advice for aspiring hockey players?
Yeah, just keep working as hard as you can, and just if you set your mind to something, I have all the faith in the world that you can accomplish it, because that's I was where you were at one point, and I kind of just said I want to be a professional hockey player, and I put as much work in as I could, and I'm in a pretty good spot right now.
Well, I'd like to thank again Owen Beck for joining me on today's podcast. Thank you again, Owen.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.